chin drops every time I see this song.
I met Faraj in 2009, so it was 2 years before the beginning of the revolution, and we became friends. Um, so I came back to the village in January 2011, just before the beginning of the revolution, and I said to him, okay, I want to make a movie with you in the village, about the life in the village. And so I began to shoot with him for 3 weeks, something like this, and I came back to France. This is true, the Skype conversation in the film. And I came back in France, and one day before the explosion, and so I said, okay, what do I have to do? Do I go to Cairo, and do I to Tahrir Square and film the enthusiasm of the revolution and things like that? I was very enthusiastic about this process, the beginning of this process, and so I came back to the village in March 2011, so two months after the revolution, and I discovered that I wanted to be with him and his family and his neighbors to understand how he, and as a friend of mine, was constructing his understanding of these events, and how will he react to these events. So that's why the film changed at this moment, and I didn't know what he was going to be, because I didn't know what will happen. So I stayed in the village, and I came back more than 10 times to shoot there, and that's it.
The scene that's always really surprising to me is the scene at the end when he's talking about, you being buried in the same country and not in France. I wonder if it took you by surprise as well.
Yes, it was out of nowhere and out of nothing. That's why it's a beautiful scene for me, because we were speaking about I don't remember what, and suddenly he said this to me, and I was okay. So at the beginning it was kind of funny, because he speaks about my own death. So it's we have to make like this. No, I don't want to die now. But after it's very beautiful for me, a way of speaking about friendship and the relationship between us. Because for me, it's the important thing is that we understand there is a kind of deep relationship with the country, because I speak Arabic, and because I know. In a way, I'm interested in the political events, and I know the situation. But for me, it was enough to say this in the film, to feel this deep interest without knowing that I grew up in Egypt and all this stuff, because I grew up in Egypt, in Cairo, and that's why I'm speaking Arabic, and that's why I cared, and I wanted to participate in this very big narration through cinema, of how we can participate in the narration of the revolution. This was very important for me, and I made it from this small village, very far away from Cairo. But it was very, very important for me to.
I just wondered about the role of women in the film, because you started the film with the mother saying, "Don't film me," and so on. I was wondering, was there any problem of film putting the part of women, and the mother, and the daughter as well, because she spoke very little in the film, and she was so skinny. But the other thing is, was there any extended family, like grandparents and uncles and so on, who were living in the same village?
With Faraj, when we spoke about making a film, and he agreed, it was never how do we say? It was never questioned. When he said yes, it was okay. Even if we argue, even if sometimes he was tired and didn't want to be filmed. But he said okay, it was okay. But with the women, and especially with the woman, she's not the mother, she's the neighbor. She said yes, but it was constantly a struggle with her because she said yes because in a way she wanted to participate in that, but it's very difficult for in this village. I won't say in whole Egypt because it depends, but it's very difficult for women to accept to have a public to speak in the public sphere, and so it was very difficult to have women speaking in front of the camera, and she is the only one who accepted it because. And I asked her one day, why did you accept? Because you are the only one. And her daughter answered, because she's how is it, a widow. Yeah. So yeah.
I thought it was really interesting that the little girl was the only one we saw studying, and some of the stuff seemed quite difficult, and she seemed a very intelligent girl. And what would be the likelihood of their future? Would they just be farmers like their parents, or could they have further education?
In this village, there is no political activists or things like that. So nor Muslim Brotherhoods because it's a very touristic place, and in touristic place, as Faraj said in the film, they were not with the Muslim Brotherhoods, but it's not a question of regression. I think it's a question of they are very how do we say not depressed, but they say okay, it's the return of the same. And Faraj was very he hoped. At a moment in the film, we see that he hoped that there is a kind of different political process in the elections and things like that. But now he said to me last time I saw him, okay, no, for me politics it's not for me now because and he is now trying to work on local politics because this meal is very important in his life, and made not a lot of money, but more money than before. So he's more important than before in the village, and he knows everybody, and everybody knows him. So he is kind of trying to implement his kind of small power in the village, more authority. Yeah, for me it was so it's a true power outage. It was a kind of a gift for me because it's symbolic in different ways for me. It's first there is the return of the army to power, and it's the end of a process, not the revolution. I don't know, but the process of elections and things like that. So it's the beginning of something else, and I had to stop because it can continue until now. So I decided to stop here, and on this speech, which is very scary for me. Because it's when we were editing, we were speaking about the North Korea scene sequence because it's a military parade and things like that, and but the power outage is also there is another one in the film, so it's like it's the same, but it's not the same, and it was very very satisfactory for me to see by the outage. It was it was a kind of personal satisfaction. Yeah. So.
And I think it's absolutely wonderful. Yesterday it was something like 300 hours. This means that all the times they were on this
joking level, or did you character also depressing material through music?
I shoot 10 times the bread, the making of the bread, and there's just two plans, two shots in the film. But it was, I don't know, I had a kind of fascination, and it helped. I think it helped me to understand the space and the time to make this, and to establish, for example, the trust with Haraji and Faraj wives, because she was in the life we are very friends, but when I have the camera it's another thing. So it's this presence in the house with the camera was helping me to be here whatever I wanted to shoot. But depressing material, no. And they are very funny. That's not only me. It's they are very funny. Yeah.
I'm wondering if you've shown the film to the people in the village and what the reaction was.
Yeah, I showed the film to the family in January when I went back to the village to show them the film, and the reaction was kind of a good reaction, but we didn't speak so much about the film. They said to me, "Oh, a lot of things are missing in the film," because I shot for 3 years, and they said, "No, why? What is it?" So we had a conversation about narration, how I built the narration in the film, and I was 4 days ago, I was in Cairo, and we made the first public screening, and Faraj was there, and it was fantastic, because I was very kind of anxious about the reactions of the Egyptian public, and but it was very interesting, and the public was very interested in the film, and there was a kind of a long conversation about the countryside and the city, and how do these two different spaces reacted and understood the events. And Faraj was very spectacular. He was he has a kind of theatrical I don't know, presence, and it was very great to have him. So, yeah, I'm very happy because I'm calm now because I had to make this, and now it's okay. I'm kind of
Yeah, I'm just wondering if you faced problems with people afraid to talk about political things, especially at the time when there was a lot of uncertainty. Where people say, "I don't want to answer this," or
I was always in the village. I was with the camera, so everybody knew that I was making a movie in the village, and so the reactions are different. People accepted to be filmed and to talk, or to be filmed and not to talk, and people didn't accept for many reasons. I think among them the fear, and but it was not. I didn't have direct problems with people. Even I didn't ask for permissions, and we are supposed to ask for permission to make a movie in Egypt, and I didn't ask. And everybody in the village knew that I was making a movie, and I didn't have problem with police, or I don't know, they didn't appear. And I think it's better. Because when you ask permissions, you have a kind of policeman with you always when you shoot. So it's a kind, it's not possible to work. So I don't know.
but it wasn't a situation where you had to kind of reassure them that, or you
But
didn't.
in the fear of Faraj, for example, if you remember the scene where he's making Simon, and yes, in the new room with his friends, he's afraid to speak. It's kind of, it's not obvious, but he's afraid, and so there is a kind of play about this. But for me, fear is a kind of it's important to show this, even if he doesn't want to talk because he's afraid. It's important because what I wanted to do in this film. It was that to show that a revolution is not kind of it appears and everybody is revolutionary. There is a constant frottement like this between the old political culture and the new one, and the fear is in the old political culture, and it's coming back. It's not it disappeared. It's coming back when the events changed, and the fear and the respect for authority. I think it's the second when Farage don't want to criticize Morsi. For me, it's the kind of no, he's the authority. We have to respect it, because if we don't respect it, we won't respect, for example, the authority of the father and things like that. So it's for me it's linked, and it's not a failure to show this. It's important to understand what's the mentality and how we understand the situation.
I think we have time for one last question. There is one right here.
What is your next plan? Are you planning another film?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't know, because I work on the side, because I think that we cannot live when we make movies. So I took 4 years to make this movie, and I won't speak about money, but it's nothing. So I have work, and the movie is going to festival, so I didn't have time to think, and maybe in the summer when things will go down a little bit, I will think about. But I think in Egypt also.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you for bringing your wonderful film.